I'm Loraine Ballard Morrill. April is Autism Awareness Month, and we continue with our series talking about the various issues surrounding living with autism and also addressing the issues of families as they cope with kids and eventually grown siblings and sons and daughters who are moving into adulthood. What are the resources available to them? Joining us in the studio is Linda Kuepper. She is co-founder and CEO of the Autism Cares Foundation. And we also have Dr. Joanne White on the phone. She is the author of a book called More Heaven Because Every Child is Special. I'm going to begin with you, Linda. First of all, welcome, and tell us about how you started and why you started the Autism Cares Foundation.
Autism Cares Foundation was created because of children like my son Michael with autism. They had very little opportunities for socialization and life enrichment activities to participate in.
The challenge certainly is providing specific opportunities that are fashioned around the needs of people with autism.
Yes.
Tell us how you do that and what you do.
Our events are very welcoming to our participants who attend our events in a safe environment. That's extremely important. And each event is geared towards their needs, actually. And we provide activities for all age ranges, from little ones that can just start walking. And now I'm happy to say that Autism Cares Foundation is a certified licensed provider of adult services for all special needs. So we're also going to be addressing the population into adulthood. So we're trying to provide these different activities and events. We take a typical event and we make it our own.
We have on the line once again Dr. Joanne White, who is the author of More Heaven Because Every Child is Special. And I wonder if you could tell us a bit about why you wrote this book and why you titled the book More Heaven Because Every Child is Special. Tell us about that.
It's really based on a true story. Many years ago when I was teaching children with special needs and autism, the federal government had mandated that all states really begin to serve children with disabilities and autism. And beforehand, yes, there were some special education classes. I was a teacher of one of them. However, many of the states, Loraine, were left off the hook because if they said, oh, we don't have the means, we don't have the educational tools, whatever, they didn't have to serve these kids. So many of these kids were isolated. They were homeschooled if their parents could do that. Oftentimes, both the cultural and the educational climate were not very receptive. Many doctors at that time recommended institutionalization because, frankly, they just did not know what to do. And so this federal mandate kind of said, okay, it's time that we decide how to educate children, get more information. There wasn't even a lot of research at the time about autism, and so I was hired by the Philadelphia school system to really pioneer the first class for children with autism and special needs who were either kicked out of school or just weren't allowed in school because, like I said, the state just said, hey, we can't handle it. We can't do it. Many people at that time, including teachers and other families, were very concerned, very reticent about that, and very kind of afraid, like, who are these kids? What's going to happen to our kids? What's going to happen to our school? And so they were wary. And the first little girl was actually sent in a taxi because, again, they were afraid to put this little girl who did have autism on a school bus. They didn't know what kind of interaction or problems would ensue if that happened. So it wasn't necessarily a welcoming environment, but we proved everybody wrong.
So, Joanne, I wondered if you could just talk a little bit more about some of the misconceptions that people have about children with autism and what the benefits and what the challenges are of mainstreaming children with autism into the classroom.
Well, firstly, many educators and physicians thought that these kids were uneducable because often there were some issues with socialization, with not giving eye contact, some stimulating behavior like handshaking and other kinds of behavior. The little girl that in the book that's called Eva, she used to do twirling, and she used to do something that's called echolalia, which is actually repeating. You'd say, "Hello, Loraine." She'd say, "Hello, Loraine. How are you, Loraine?" So that kind of thing. So they felt that these kids were strange. They didn't seem to fit into whatever the normal or so-called typical profile was for children, and so they didn't know what to do with them. The amazing thing, though, is that many of these kids are so gifted. I mean, I was amazed at how quickly once we got past trust and getting rid of the feelings that they had from failing in the educational system, these kids love to learn and were eager to learn, and oftentimes their skills maxed out in terms of what some of the typical children are. I've done some research, too, in terms of personalities and people who, throughout our history, had learning differences. They may not have had autism, but many of these people have changed our world because their brains work differently. They thought differently. The person who invented the light bulb, the person, Alexander Bell and the telephone, the Wright brothers, I can go on and on. Temple Grandin today, who really changed the world of animal husbandry to be more humane. Walt Disney. There are so many actors, so many people who are different, and I welcome, and we should welcome that difference because they are the change makers. They are the ones that are really helping us move our world forward.
Yes. Well, Linda Kuepper, I wonder if you could also talk about how we're starting to reframe the word disabilities into differences. I think that disabilities, by the very nature of the word, implies a lack or a disadvantage, whereas differences acknowledges the fact that you have something to contribute. And I wonder if you could just talk a little bit about that briefly.
These beautiful individuals are met with acceptance of who they are and their abilities that they have. That is extremely important because, like Dr. Joanne White said, they're beautiful, they're brilliant. Some of them become pretty amazing individuals and grow up to be amazing adults that have opportunities for them to succeed in the community. But we still have more improvement there in our community and how we approach anyone with disabilities. I believe that we should approach them with compassion, understanding. I know for myself, my son certainly has taught me patience and understanding. I think bringing people together is a plus. For instance, our events that we provide, we have a buddy system, and having buddies there that are typical, either high school or college students interacting with our kids that are special, it makes connections, it makes bonding, and there are everlasting friendships.
And I think that's the key there, that we need to provide a way to embrace people of all different abilities. And in doing so, then we get to be in touch with and see where we connect.
Absolutely.
Now, you have a fundraiser coming up, Linda. Tell us about that.
We're very, very excited about our 7th annual gala that's coming up. It's one of our most important fundraiser events. It enables us to continue to provide these wonderful programs and activities. It's a 5-star event with hors d'oeuvres. It is a formal attire. And there's dancing the night away. And, of course, we have a silent and live auction.
And what's the date and where's the location?
The date is Saturday, May 7th at the beautiful Spring Mill Manor in Ivyland.
Oh, very nice.
Yes. Yes. So we're very excited about this year's event. And it's a wonderful cause. And anyone that would like to sponsor or donate or attend, they can absolutely visit our website at autismcaresfoundation.org or contact us at 215-942-2273.
And Dr. Joanne White, if people would like to get a copy of your book, More Heaven, Because Every Child is Special, how do they do that?
Well, right now they can go to Amazon.com, BarnesandNoble.com, or OutskirtsPress.com. And I just wanted to add that proceeds for the book are actually going to support the Autism Cares Foundation in the creation of their future Center of Excellence, which I'm very excited about.
Thank you so much for joining us, Linda Kuepper, who's co-founder and CEO of the Autism Cares Foundation. And on the line, we had Dr. Joanne White, who's the author of More Heaven Because Every Child is Special. Thank you both for joining us today.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks so much, Loraine.
I'm Loraine Ballard Morrill.